It's an ego problem. They design the tallest building. So when they invited Roxanne and myself to Dubai, they wanted me to come there and design the tallest building in the world and the most modern city in the world and a theme park. I said, why do you want the tallest building in the world? We want to be better than the United States. It's like infantile. The prince is an asshole. In other words, all these people don't understand society. They do not. You must design for human comfort, and you must design cities with art centers, music centers, cultural centers. I can only talk a little bit about America because that's where I'm from. I don't like our country. It's completely corrupt. And that's for most civilizations today. They're all corrupt. I'm sorry to say that. I don't like what I'm saying. I wish it were otherwise. So what I want to tell you is that we are brought up in a system called established. Established means it serves the interest of the lead group, the control group. What we really need is an emergent society. Emergent society means that there's no utopia, no fixed system. If I were to design a city, and that city would be a straitjacket to the kids of the future, they'll design their own cities. So if you make a statue of me, you'll hold back society. There are no great men, no great women. All people are creative, but they're not brought up to know what that means. I want to give you, most of your language should be subject to definitions, clear definitions, and we don't have that. When we say we have a great nation, what do you mean by that exactly? Another person says to me, I believe in freedom. I believe in participatory democracy. So I say, do you really believe that? They say yes. So did you vote for the Vietnam War? I guess not. Did you vote for the space program? I guess not. Did you vote for highway design, the Capitol building, procedural systems? No. That's just bullshit, I'm sorry. But they give you that to maintain control. There's no bad language either. Maybe if you, young lady, drop a pie, you say fiddly-dee. A man might say shit. That means I'm sorry I dropped a pie. It has nothing to do with fecal matter. There are no bad words. Your society tries to control you continuously through radio, television, news. Now, if you worked in a department store and a young lady came up and said, how much is that lamp? You said $20. She said, I'll take two. Let's say he's a good Christian. He said, if you go down the street, you get the same lamp for $10. He wouldn't be working there very long. So when they tell you that your government likes you, they're working for you, you wouldn't outsource to another country. You understand? If you outsource jobs and production for other countries, it means all they're concerned with is the bottom line, profit. And that's very disadvantageous to people. The profit system actually does design things to wear out and break down, because that's the way you keep in business. Every year you got to buy new airplanes because the old become obsolete. So war has always been good business. A friend of mine, when you're drafted into the army or you join the army to protect your country, you put your life up for the country. So they should conscript all the war industries so no one makes a buck out of war. Then it's real. On the same basis of pay of soldiers. But if you make millions selling aircraft to the army, he sells machine guns, she sells submarines, it's not honest. Now I knew a guy named Alexander P.D. Seversky, who owns Seversky Aircraft Company. He said during World War II that that the government should buy long-range bombers to knock out the power projects in Germany. If you knock out the dams and the power projects, but if you shoot soldiers out in the field, they can keep producing munitions and bombers and airplanes. Do you understand? Even war is corrupt. It's corrupt as an operation. A friend of mine flew airplanes in World War I. And he said he flew over Krupp munition works 8 times with orders not to bomb it. He didn't understand that. He was a pilot to defend the United States. But after the war, a magazine called Fortune magazine ran an article called Arms and the Men. Probably never heard of it. And in that magazine they said that DuPont has holdings in I.J. Farben. That's why I wasn't bombing it. So war is really not to bring democracy to other countries. It's about resources and exploitation and removal of the resources. National loyalty is really a form of stupidity. All people need clean air, clean water, arable land, and a relevant education. That means no businessmen, no advertising, no investment bankers. Relevant education means how to restore the environment and the damaged reefs. Not that, you know, I don't know if I told some of you this, but the United States Army about 45 years ago dumped 65 tons of nerve gas off the coast of Miami, near the Gulf Stream. How can you love the country and do things like that? How can you care about people and bomb their cities? We'll fly over and press a button and wipe out cities. The reason people do that, they get a medal. They get an X on the fuselage of how many planes you shot down. I used to work for Ernst Udet. He became the head, one of the top brass under the Nazis. Well, I worked for him at Roosevelt Field. And I said, how did you shoot down 70 airplanes? And he said to me, I would fly above aerial combat and watch the rookies that couldn't handle planes well and knock them off. Now, what kind of a person is that? He's a war hero, great man. Eddie Rickenbacker, the same. They're bums and stupid people brought up by an arrogant society that doesn't give a shit about anyone else but the established institutions. So I'm trying to tell you something. We must join together with all nations, take care of the earth together and one another. When you think of the cost of World War II, I'm not just talking about the military cost, I'm talking about taking care of veterans after the war for years. And then all the cities bombed out, the museums and art. You know, you remember England and Germany flattened out. Take that cost, you know what that could have done? It could have housed everyone on earth in brand new housing. Built art centers, music centers, cultural centers, housing, parks. Soldiers should be trained as problem solvers, not killers. When you train people to be killers, obviously soldiers don't know what the hell they're doing because they think they're defending their country. They're building hatred for the next 20 years. When you bomb the Arab world and flatten it out, you're not doing any good. So years ago, when I was proposing this society, I said to myself, Jacque, how are you going to change everybody in the world? They all think differently. Some people have 10 wives, you know, in some nations. It's all so very different. How are you going to change them? That's what thinking is, talking to yourself. If I say, I'll see you Saturday, he says, I'll take the kids to, and then I can't see you Saturday. So thinking is nothing magic. It's what you've been exposed to and asking questions. So I said to myself, how are you going to change all these people? I said, I don't know. That's the first thing you have to learn is say, I don't know. Do you think we'll ever get to Mars? Nah, not in 1,000 years. That's your opinion. Just say, I don't know enough about aeronautic space travel or the conditions on Mars to give you an answer. We don't talk that way. When we see a new airplane without wings, we say it doesn't have wings, it'll never fly. The question is, how do you propose to lift off the ground without wings? I'm a layman, not technical. If you do that, there's no argument. But if you give everybody a right to their own opinion, which is we're brought up to believe that that's the right thing. Give everybody a right to their own opinion. If you live across the street from me and I see 10 guys coming out of your apartment, I can have all kinds of opinions. You can be a language instructor, an art instructor, but if you give everybody a right to their own opinion, you damage communication. Just when you ask for, do you think we'll ever get to Mars? They would say, it's not my field, I know nothing about rocketry, I can't answer that. That's the way people talk in the future. They don't say, It'll never work. Scientists in the past used to write books on why man can't fly. And the Wright brothers never read those books. It's an ego problem. They designed the tallest building. So when they invited Roxanne and myself